for now, we're on the month of June. It's Youth Month. We turn our lens to a rising innovator who reshapes what inclusion looks like. This is all happening in the context of a digital age at large. And so we're going to be shining a spotlight on Ndlovu, a visionary young technologist who's not only breaking new ground, but also building bridges in silence. I mean, based in Pretoria, Wanda's been working rather closely with the deaf community, and this is through his initiative at Future Coding. That's a computer-trained school led by and for the deaf. He and his team, they have launched the REAH C9. It's a remarkable piece of wearable technology. It's designed to interpret South African sign language, and that happens in real time. But Wanda's mission, it goes far beyond hardware, from smart glasses that convert gestures into speech, new performance platforms using AI. This is to digitize, sign language at large. Wanda is also leading a quiet revolution, ensuring that sign language is not just seen, but also understood and represented in the technologies that are shaping our future. In a world increasingly driven by data and algorithms, how do we ensure that African language are also especially represented, or including sign language for that matter, and that they're not left behind? These are some of the questions we're going to be chatting this afternoon. Ndlovu joins us in studio. In fact, a very good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at this hour on the SABC.
Thanks, Lizelle, for the invitation. I really appreciate it, and greetings to the viewers.
I mean, it's amazing to see the impact that this is going to have for agency, representation, and also just that human dignity and acknowledgement, to be seen, heard, and to know that we matter. That's what comes to the fore. You're combining all these elements. Perhaps we could backtrack and look at how this would have all started for you. Where did that inspiration come from?
Well, I come from a telecom environment, and I used to work with the UN Millennium Development Goals, and got exposed in terms of how to use technology to solve African problems. And then that's when I jumped the ship and then started our venture, where we will then utilize technology to address societal problems because we understand them better as South Africans, right? Yeah. So now around 2017, I got exposed to the deaf community, and that's when I got a shock of my life. I didn't know that you need an interpreter next to you to be able to communicate with them. Fast forward, I started then to run a program where my intention was to bring young and deaf, so where we'll create a new generation of software developers so that they can participate in the digital revolution around around 2010, right? Yeah. So now I then created a program called Future Coding, where I will identify young people across South Africa, bring them together in a training center, and then expose them to coding, because at that time we were entering the fourth industrial revolution. However, during the training, then I identified that majority of our spend was going to the sign language interpretation services. Okay. Now we needed to start to look at not to remove interpreters, but how do we reduce the involvement of sign language interpreters when they are not available? How can we bring technology? Then that's when we developed the REAH C9, where we're looking at a deaf person will carry these wearable glasses technology, like your Google glasses, yeah, and then they will move around with it. When they engage with probably a police woman at the police station, they can hand them over, where the woman will then wear the wearable glasses, and a deaf person will start to sign. And then the signs will then be remotely sent to an interpreter sitting somewhere, and then that will then reduce the cost of an interpreter moving to on-site. Yeah. But something interesting is, as you know, technology changes all the time, right? So that was around 2020. So with the new wave of artificial intelligence, now we are looking at then how to build these AI solutions so that we ensure that sign language is not left behind. Yes. But at the same time, we as software engineers or computer programmers, we are not only bringing the paradigm of programming, but we bring communities to be part of the design and development of this AI system.
And let's get into that, because it's obviously in the context of an African narrative that needs to be reworked. An agency has to come through, especially when we're mitigating against algorithm biasness and prejudice. Talk to us about that incorporation. Yeah,
so as you know, most of these advanced tech, they come from Global North, which is your America and your Asia, Global South, one of the exceptional country in the Global South. Now, when we adapt them in South Africa, we change some configuration, but however, the system comes with overrepresentation of data from the West, so meaning it's dominated by English. So now if you have to adapt that language model, AI language model, and maybe apply it in South African Sign Language, it might not cover certain dialects that is signed probably in a particular province. So now REAH, this is where it comes in. We understand that as engineers, we are not solely responsible, because South African Sign Language Charter argues that nothing should be developed without the involvement of the deaf community. So we work with the organization linguistic that are in sign language space, including the deaf individual themselves, where we collect the signs and then we digitalize them, because one of the challenges with South African Sign Language is not digitalized. We started our digitalization of South African Sign Language in 2022, and to date we have managed to create a data set that will be available to train South African Sign Language AI system. We have over 14,000 videos that we have created so far.
Wanda, the work continues. A 30-second elevator speech as we wrap up. What's your youth message to all those tuned in, and what are the future projects that we can expect from you as well going forward? Okay, great. So I'm pleased to share with you that this work that we've been doing for the past 4 years, it involves young people, and they come from the deaf community. And soon we'll be launching our AI solution that integrates South African Sign Language in an automatic teller machine. All right, Wanda, thank you for your time. Wanda Ndlovu, of course, joining us, the head of innovation, chatting to us about the involvements for the deaf community and some of the projects through the REAH C9.